Welcome and thank you for joining us at Industry Insight, brought to you by Prosumer Connect. My name is Shawn Marshall, Director and Founder of Prosumer Connect. We welcome back Mr. Richard Green. He's the National Director of SAMBRA. Richard, thank you very much for coming back and talking to us once again.
It's a pleasure, Shawn. It's a pleasure. Interesting subject today.
Absolutely. So the subject today is that the Competition Commission is implementing new motor industry guidelines effective 1 July 2021. For those prosumers that's not familiar with this, it will literally impact the entire motor industry, from vehicle sales right through to repairs to insurance companies, etc. Having said that, today our resident specialist, Mr. Green, is all things MBR related, motor body repairers related. So we asked him to join us today to just unpack a bit the impact that this new implementation and this new guidelines will have to the average motor body repairer out there. So Mr. Green, if you can maybe just give us an insight, how do you foresee this new guideline having an impact on your member companies?
So if you don't mind, Shawn, I'll do that with pleasure, but I just want to reference the actual document first before I say that. The guidelines are, number one, guidelines. So we need to have that clear. It is not written into law. They are guidelines. Obviously, you cannot ignore guidelines that come from the Competition Commission. That would be folly, but they are guidelines. Secondly, they came out as a result of pressure on the Competition Commission by independent service providers. So these are people that perhaps are not motor manufacturer approved, but in the main, the pressure came from the independent mechanical workshops. So they wanted, or they felt that they should be able to work on vehicles that were still under factory warranty. And they wanted the consumer to have the choice to go to, Joe's workshop if they chose, and to support Joe's workshop, even though the car was perhaps in warranty. So having said that, I'm not sure who is going to make that choice, because if you have a car in warranty and you choose to go to Joe's workshop, according to the guidelines, Joe's workshop has to do two things. They have to warn you, first of all, of the potential of the OEM cancelling that portion of the warranty, let's say if it was the left wheel hub that you repaired, and they have to put a note in the warranty booklet to that effect. So it's highly unlikely that there's going to be an enormous uptake of independent workshop services whilst the car's in warranty. That is my personal view, obviously not the view of everybody. As it relates to the MBR sector, I want to kick back again and say that client choice has been a mission of SAMBRA's for many years. We have lobbied hard at OEM level to have approval systems opened up, for instance. A couple of years ago, if you wanted, let's use an OEM example, Toyota. If you wanted a Toyota approval and there were already 3 approved shops in Bloemfontein, you couldn't achieve, irrespective of whether you were ready to achieve their criteria or not, you could not be number 4, because they would say the market has sufficient service provision within it. Now, obviously, for us, I'm concerned that has always been, or runs against competition or free market systems, let's call it, which the competition authorities underline. So we've managed to get the OEMs to open those up. But from an MBR perspective specifically, I think the impact of the guidelines is going to be very limited, because it seeks to open up the market to give further client choice and to promote the interests of historically disadvantaged individuals, obviously, who are in business within this sector. We support all of that. We don't support a 2000 BMW that costs 1.5 million rand going to somebody who does not have the equipment and the technical staff to do it. I mean, that's just foolish to do. So we do believe that consumers, given the choice, as this guideline kind of underpins, will make a choice in their best interests. And I think they will still go to the same places that they have gone previously when the guideline becomes formal in July 1. So I honestly believe that the impact is going to be limited.
Yeah. So Richard, you mentioned something very important, and I understand where you're coming from, because the majority of incidents are minor non-structural damages, and from past experience, the majority of your incidents is really a panel or two with a bit of spray and those kind of things. So I can appreciate where you're saying, previously, even if the vehicle is a 3-year-old vehicle, but it literally needs one panel and a spray, that it needs to go to a manufacturer-approved panel beater for that work. That I totally appreciate from you. So I can see how that will obviously open up the market a bit more for the average MBR that isn't OEM approved and doesn't have all those specific badges. I do believe it's a different thing once you start moving into the structural damages. And the question again, what you raised there is very important, is consumer choice. Where does the consumer want to fix his vehicle? And I share your sentiment from the perspective that, somebody that's got a 2020 BMW wants his vehicle to be repaired at the shop. If it's his preference to take it somewhere else, my question to you is just, who takes the responsibility of the quality of repairs? And especially if you're talking about new entrants into the market and those kind of things, the burning question is just on who lies the burden of ensuring the quality and those kind of things. Because at the end of the day, insurance companies for a fact is going to say it's all fair and well, but if they have to stand and be owned up to that quality of repairs, I think they might have a bit of an issue with that.
Well, there's the old Latin term caveat emptor, beware the buyer. It is the responsibility of each and every consumer, nobody else. Because if you want the right of choice, then what comes with that is the responsibility of that choice. So client choice comes with equal responsibility. If you choose to go to Joe's panel beaters that carries no accreditation, no OEM approvals, nothing, with a 2020 BMW, and you're making a very risky decision, in my view. That person who owns that BMW might know that person intimately, might be his brother or sister. And so they want to support the business. And I absolutely agree with that. If they want to make that decision, then do so, but they will carry the responsibility of that decision. You cannot expect a third party to carry the responsibility for your own decision, which in essence runs, diametrically opposed to what is recommended. So it really is the individual that makes that client choice that carries the responsibility, in my view. If you're insured, as you all know better than I, the responsibility currently, as because the insurers chose to contract out of the competition law, as you're aware, and other rules rule their conduct. So they consider at this point in time it their responsibility and their right to allocate the work that they are doing on behalf of an insured party to put them back into the place that they were, or the position they were prior to the incident. They consider that to be their right. So that's still to be tested in the marketplace, but I don't believe that the guidelines are going to change the insurer's view on that to any great extent.
Okay, so one question, and maybe it's not a fair question to you per se, Richard, so I do apologize for putting you on the spot here. The new guidelines, does that not open up an opportunity for insurers to reduce their average repair costs, but do so maybe in to the furthest extent of it? Because the way I understand this guidelines is all of a sudden, you can take a new vehicle and you can take it to a non-approved member company. But I'm just asking, is there a possibility that some insurance companies might be stretching this guidelines to their benefit as opposed to the actual cause for what it is all about? Because two companies, you're going to get different approaches. You might get one company that still sends it to the OEM because they believe that's the right thing to do. Company B might decide, but the guidelines allow me to do that, so I'm going to send it to this OEM, and there's going to be a huge disparity between company A and company B, which is all coming down to, claims cost management. But My question again to you is just, do you believe there's some form of room for insurers to manipulate this guideline into their benefit?
My answer is quite simple. Those insurers that would like to act like that already act like that. So I don't think there's going to be a massive shift. There might be some additional people taking the gap, to use a South Africanism. But remember that the same principle applies. If they make that choice, they become the buyer and they become responsible. They always try and transfer that responsibility onto the MBR. But if you're using somebody who does not carry those accreditations, does not have the technical staff or the equipment to do the job properly, you're probably going to end up with a job that is substandard. And then it's a case of who fixes that. And in my view, if the insurer makes the decision, the insurer must stand good for any poor quality of repairs. I think people that act like that, insurers or any other business, will very, very quickly find out that they'll start losing policyholders faster than they're gaining them. So it's not an intelligent business decision from my perspective, Shawn.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Richard. Once again, we've run out of time. For some reason, every time I talk to you, I just want to continue talking, because these subjects, we can continue talking for hours about them. But again, Richard from Prosumer Connect, thank you very much for joining us, availing yourself and having a chat to you. We hope to see you soon again.
Terrific. Look forward to that, Shawn. Stay safe.
Thank you. Cheers.